Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Thank you for the support on the previous video if you've watched that on my video on the future of Deadlock. There's got a good amount of views for a channel of my size, so thank you again for that, and it has helped me give me more drive to make more videos, as there is clearly demand for Deadlock videos, as it is a bit of a niche game at the moment, of course, but establishing myself and how I really like this game, I wanted to make content for it, is definitely driving me to make more videos, so thank you for that, and expect more videos in the future. But today's video is going to be sort of a new type of video where I'm going to be sort of documenting / bookmarking the current state of Deadlock. So today of recording is the 6th of February 2025, so you can look back at these videos months from now, years from now, whenever, and see how far Deadlock as a game has come in terms of what they've added, which is, I think, is a very nice thing to sort of document how far Deadlock has come over the months and stuff like that. So starting off, at the beginning of the year, Valve added 4 new heroes that were from the game mode Hero Labs into the main game roster, which was Holiday, Calico, Viper, with a Y this time. They just changed the name from Viper, the I, instead of VY, to a VY. That sounds strange when saying after each other, but they changed the name of that, not sure why. And then they changed, and then they added Magician, but he's now called the Magnificent Sinclair. So they've added these 4 heroes to the main roster, and I would say their sort of reception is a bit all over the place in some way. I think a lot of people like it. I like the new addition to the new heroes to the roster. I think Holiday should have been added ages ago, but they were holding off, and having 4 heroes at once is a great thing, as then one of the big plans for 2025 is to expand the current hero roster, which I think is definitely a big priority that the game needs, as it will allow for much more diversity in heroes across the game, of course, as there's more to pick from. It allows for different counterplays and synergies and stuff like that, and as nothing, you know, and definitely especially being a MOBA and being 6 people on each team, greater variety is only going to help the game more, especially when other MOBAs have hundreds of heroes to select from. So that Deadlock's roster feels very small, as you would always see a few heroes pretty much in every single game. You know, Haze, for example. But having more heroes and their priority for this year, having more heroes is a great thing, and I appreciate it, and I think it can definitely help the game out. Keep retention as well, as adding 4 new heroes allows people to not only test out these kits and the abilities of these heroes, but sort of like what builds are good on them and their synergies with other characters and stuff like that. So, for the current 4 they added, which was Holiday, which I said before, Holiday, Calico, Viper and Sinclair, were a bit of a mixed bag overall. When they first released, Holiday, Viper and Sinclair were all very strong, with Calico being quite weak. However, with recent balance patches they've done over the past couple of weeks, that's sort of changed, and now Holiday's still strong, a bit maybe slightly weaker in terms of her scaling and some of the things you can do. Viper is no longer a menace, and no longer is sort of a pub stomper, as they've heavily reduced not only her basic gun damage, but overall they've nerfed gun damage and growth across the board for every hero in the game, which is drastic, because there's a lot people were talking about and complaining that a lot of the meta was gun based builds. So there was like gun Yamato, gun Shiv, gun Bebop, and it felt like ability-based legends and ability-based builds was falling behind. So them doing a global damage, gun damage reduction definitely helped in that regard, and we see probably more heroes that have more spirit and ability-based damage sort of rising up, and builds coming back as well. However, Viper got hit severely hard, as Viper entirely just does gun damage. Her abilities don't do much damage, you know, to the mid to late game. So she has really suffered in that regard, and I think she's probably the weakest of the four now. But you could make an argument that maybe Sinclair is as well, because Sinclair got changed to being sort of a very dangerous threat up close, where you would use your 3 ability and change an enemy into a rabbit, use your 2 to summon an assistant, and then nuke them in close range with your 1, your Vexing Bolt. However, they've changed how Vexing Bolt works, where it does less damage up close and does more damage the further it travels. So you kind of want to more poke people at range. However, I think big poke damage is kind of hard in a game like Deadlock, especially when there's quite a bit of lifesteal on a lot of characters, and especially an ability that's quite hard to hit, like Vexing Bolt. It does put him in an awkward place in the meta and as a character. So he's the least developed of all of them, and definitely requires a lot more work, and I think the most work out of the 4 that was added to the game. And then there is Calico, who got completely changed from her Hero Labs version, having basically all her abilities changed to being sort of a turret-based melee character, to still being a melee type character, as she gets benefits from her 2, as it deals light melee damage, but being more of a sort of an assassin type character that can like move around stealthily, but then sort of can jump in, do big damage, and then maybe get out as well. That sort of like burst assassin somewhat, potentially. So she went from the weakest with a few, and then she got buffed, of course, with some of the damage, reducing cooldowns and doing damage changes and stuff, to probably being, you know, one of the best in the game. So they've made a drastic change with her, and I really enjoyed Calico, even pre-nerf, or when she came out. But to see people now complaining about it is odd. But that's how the balance changes have gone. So I think, like I said, I think they've settled nicely, but they are still very strong. And of course they'll get changed over time with balances and stuff like that. So, but just having more heroes in the game is a good thing, and you know, they can sort of go trial by fire and put these very temperamental heroes in the base game, especially with a player count that is sort of stabilized between 15,000 to 20,000 around peak times, I guess, during the week for Deadlock. Having a separate mode only available in certain times that people even didn't really play much, even when there was a bit of a higher player count, is a bit redundant. I think definitely, that one of the big priorities they should do is just move every hero that is in Hero Labs into the main roster. They moved Sinclair, and he still has used basically 7 of the base. They had to literally change his headshot damage, because they literally copied 7's base stats and model and stuff, and they just changed it. But there's still temporary models and not even finished animations. For example, Raven, who doesn't have animations on a lot of its abilities and stuff. So I think once there's like the base for those heroes, which they've worked on, they can be then added and have actual proper testing, because everyone's playing normal mode. I don't think people are playing Hero Labs. So that's one thing they should prioritize as well. Another thing is they've changed the update schedule for Deadlock for 2025 going forward, until they say again. From a fixed 2-week schedule, which was every Thursday, they would release updates that would sort of cover all types of stuff. It was either art changes, major gameplay changes, economy changes, balance changes to heroes and items and stuff, and any kind of new content they added, like a hero or some kind of item they may have added, as they've added like new items, or they've even taken away an item. If you played a couple months ago they had an item called Soul Rebirth, which allowed you to sort of revive yourself on the spot, but increased your respawn timer. That item got completely removed, I think for the best, as that might have caused a lot of... It felt kind of strange of an item, and I think Deadlock maybe might do that with a lot of items and stuff like that. But at the moment they've changed it from, like I said, a fixed 2 week schedule on a Thursday to basically whenever. There's no real, schedule where it's like, oh, after this update it'll be 3 weeks or 4 weeks. It could be anything, As I said, me recording this is nearly 3 weeks since they've dropped the 4 new heroes, and I've done about 2 or 3 balance patches since then. We could get a new update tomorrow. We don't know, in 3 weeks, but if not, they could do it next week, or they could do it the week after, It really depends on what they've sort of been working on and stuff like that. So there's no guarantee they can update on a Friday, just because previous ones on a Friday they could update on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Don't know, we have to see till then. So it's just sort of a random time, what they want to do. So it'll be a bit more of a surprise, and definitely look out for the forums when they drop that, and other channels. Also, if you're on the Discord, they do announce it in the announcements page, and the announcements channel, sorry, and stuff like that. So look out for those. And then one final thing, sort of for this recap, which is a sort of a high-profile esports team or organisation, I would say, has signed an EU team in Deadlock, which is a big thing, because not only has it's a good sign for the future of Deadlock as an esport and a competitive game, but it shows how bigger organizations have their eyes on Deadlock, and they know, oh, this game can be big. We can sign some teams and we can get in early, as there is definitely a demand and a want for Deadlock as a competitive game, right? It's a MOBA, and it's coming from the same people that make Dota 2, which is also one of the biggest esports in the world. Not as big as League in terms of size and whatever, but it's still probably second biggest MOBA in the world. So having another, MOBA from the same people, I'm sure it's definitely enticing for them, and it's a good thing for the game and the future of Deadlock. So that's all I have to say for this current state. So a brief and the future of Deadlock. So that's all I have to say for this current state. So a brief overview of all the stuff that's happened in the last sort of month. I try to do this probably shortly after, or a couple weeks, or when I get the chance to speak and go over the content after like a big patch, only big news. So look out for those. Of course, I'll date the title and stuff like that, so you know when I'm talking about this stuff, so you can date it when these things happen in Deadlock. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.